René Aviation CEO, FAA board alum, and high performance business coach. From the cockpit to the control tower, I've interviewed women across the industry. You're in for a treat with these mini episodes. I hope they whet your appetite for the longer versions that will drop every Tuesday going forward. Welcome to the Fly Girls Guide podcast. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us for the Fly Girls Guide to Aviation Careers. I am delighted to have Sharlotte Yealdhall with me today. She manages air traffic from the East Coast all over the East Coast, pretty much, at least the top part of the East Coast or the mid part of the East Coast. Sharlotte, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And tell me a little bit about what you do working in the Washington, D.C. Center.
Sure. I am what's called a traffic management coordinator. And basically our purview or our airspace starts from Atlantic City, New Jersey, all the way down to the Carolinas. And we push out through West Virginia into Ohio and such. And as a traffic management coordinator, that is my responsibility to make sure that aircraft are flowing through our center in a safe capacity and that we're not overloading our areas and sectors, and that our airports are not getting gridlocked, which is always a challenge for various airports on the East Coast. So that's kind of what I do. I joke with people that if you've ever been delayed, you're welcome. That was my fault.
But, well, yeah. You know, that's all. It would be fine on a good day. But
right.
We're in thunderstorm season right now. What do you call it?
SWAP season, severe weather avoidance procedures. That's what we call the current season. And once the snow hits, we have snowbird season.
That's crazy. Well, tell me a little bit. Obviously, this is a big responsibility now, making sure that you have thousands of aircraft routed correctly every day and avoiding some of the things that need to be avoided for those of us who fly. How did you get there?
So I guess the short version is it was a careers day in high school, and the air traffic booth had brought their PR person, and she was amazing. And she invited me to be able to come and tour the facility. It was a Tower Tracon Center because I grew up in South Africa, so it's a different kind of facility from what we have in the States. But I just really enjoyed it and thought, wow, I can still play with airplanes and I can go home at night. And from there, I went to college and have a degree in air traffic management. Unfortunately, my college is no longer around, but there are many colleges throughout the States that still offer that degree. And then I went to the FAA Academy, where I was an en route controller. And from my time at Washington Center, then I transferred to Andrews Air Force Base, the home of Air Force One, and got to do a lot of military aircraft and civilian and just a totally different perspective of air traffic. I also worked at Washington Center as a traffic manager for 2 years, went to Dulles Airport for almost a decade, back as a traffic manager. So I've really done the DC area.
Wow. What are the job skills that you would recommend or the life qualities that you would recommend for people who are considering air traffic as a career?
You need to be flexible. That is definitely one of the things. Being a good communicator. Obviously, our whole job is based on how we communicate with our pilots and those around us. Also, as in terms of being creative, I think, is a huge part of air traffic. It's one of those things that we forget. A lot of people think it's mathematical, and if you can see in 3D, which is not everybody can, is a big piece of it. My husband laughs at me when we're driving. He's like, "You're such a controller," because I'm anticipating, I call it anticipating separation with the car that's ahead of me or whatever. So as I'm turning, he's like, "Oh my gosh." But that is one of those skills that you have to be able to make those decisions quickly. So
I love it. It sounds like a crazy, exciting, and intense career. Is it fun?
It is. Oh, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of moments that give you a real boost. You know, we are talking about having an emergency, for example, and knowing that you helped somebody get to the ground safely is a huge piece of an accomplishment for the day, kind of going, wow, I'm so glad that they made it safely and I was able to give them the instructions they needed. So there's definitely fantastic days. And then there's other days, especially if you work in a tower, where it's just beautiful. I loved sunrises and sunsets and being able to watch the world fly around me. It was a lot of fun.
I love it. Charlotte, thanks so much for being a part of the podcast. This was fantastic.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening. If this inspired you, subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss even more brilliance in the episodes to come.